So today I'm going to be talking about pollution in China. This is actually a request I get often. People often ask me to talk about pollution. The people who are planning to visit here, planning to work or live here, or just curious, I guess, ask me, what about pollution in China? Well, I haven't done this subject for a reason up until now. My reason is I don't like politics, and I don't like to get into politics. If you start talking about pollution, it inevitably leads to political discussions. And that's not what I'm all about. That's not what this series is all about. I'm all about seeing China for what it is, what it's like living in China, and what China's all about. I'm not here to talk politics. I'm not here to take sides. And I'm really just here to show you how things are. So bearing that in mind, I'm going to tell you about pollution, but I would prefer it if you didn't make it into political debate and use the comment section as a way to vent your frustrations. Leave that to the boring old politicians who go sit in their government houses or whatever they do. All right, so let's get on to the topic of pollution. Now, from my own personal experiences, now almost 7 years here in China, I've seen the best and I've seen the worst. But I'm going to tell you about Shenzhen, this city that I live in. This is Shenzhen where I am right now, except it's outside the gate, as they say, outside the special economic zone. Let me tell you about Shenzhen. In the 7 years that I've been living here in Shenzhen, the air quality has been great, okay? Pollution, as far as pollution is concerned, well, I've never ever seen a single day in Shenzhen where I would say the air quality has been bad, as in polluted. Occasionally we get bad visibility due to weather, when there's a lot of humidity in the air, it's like fog, but that's not pollution. The air is clean and breathable, it's wonderful. Shenzhen is a beautiful city and actually has some or other, I think UNESCO or some kind of World Heritage Green City Award. Not sure exactly, so don't quote me on that, but they do have some kind of award for being a green city, and it certainly is. If you go down into the interior of the city, into what we call the special economic zone, which consists of Futian, Nanshan, Yantian, and Luohu districts, all of those districts are very clean. There are some dirty spots, obviously, but in general, clean, lots of trees, well maintained, well looked after, and a very pleasant place to be. Now out here where I live in Buji, it's dirty and horrible in a lot of areas because there's a lot of construction going on. China being such a developing country, everywhere you go you just see construction. They're building new buildings and new roads and new high-speed railways. I'll show you a little bit of footage of that stuff that I took on my way back home today in the car. Now we can see the construction of the new high-speed railway that's coming past my area. You see the bridge that's busy being built right here. And of course, this is just happening absolutely everywhere in China. There's a huge amount of development, and it of course wreaks havoc on the local environment. As you can see, all the nonsense and dust and construction materials that end up on the road and just everywhere. We're still, at least here in this area where I live, there's a big quarry. They're busy taking apart a mountain over here on the right-hand side somewhere, and the trucks are just daily coming in and out. You can just see the amount of dust that's everywhere. Makes it very unpleasant. But then you get spots like this where I live. Okay, my buildings are sort of over there and overlooking an awesome lake, and as you can see, it's nice and quiet out here. The air is nice, but trust me, 5 minutes down the road there and suddenly it's trucks and dust and nonsense. It's really unpleasant. Anyway, that's not really talking about pollution as such, really. That's just construction, the usual dust and nonsense that is associated with it. The reason Shenzhen is so clean, okay, and so non-polluted, I should say, is because that's the way the government wants it to be. And they're very clever, and what they do is they have moved all the factories into the outlying areas of Shenzhen. Also, the power stations that provide the power for Shenzhen are also very far away from the city. Okay, and even outlying cities are generating and supplying power to Shenzhen. So we don't have all the nonsense that is associated with power generation. You know, like we don't have billowing smokestacks here anywhere nearby. If they are somewhere, they're like 100 k's away or whatever. They're far away. There's a big nuclear power plant which is somewhere like on the coast, quite far away. It's very far away from the city center anyway, and of course that doesn't generate smog or anything. And you know, all the factories are moved out into the developing areas. So in fact, out here where I live, there are a few factories, but nothing big. There are not big pollution creating factories. They're normally like clothing factories, things like that, furniture factories and so on. If you go out of Shenzhen, you start getting into areas like Dongguan and up near Guangzhou and all those areas. That's when the air quality starts to seriously take a dive. Now, I've been to many different cities in China. I've been to many different provinces too. And one thing I can tell you is, as soon as you get out of the main cities or towns, beautiful air quality, just kind of like what we're seeing here, even better, you know, blue skies. It's winter now and it's starting to rain. Well, it's the beginning of winter, so we've got a lot of clouds up here. But usually it's blue skies, beautiful weather, clean air, etc. out in the countryside, as it is in every country. And then as soon as you get into these little developing cities and towns, it's just chaos usually, construction going on, dust, trucks, nonsense. And of course, where you've got these industrial cities, like for instance Dongguan, which is quite close by, it's about an hour's drive, it's terrible up there, I'll be honest with you. Couple of times I've been there, you can't even see like, I don't know, like 10 meters in front of you. It's just the air is thick with like smog and pollution, and it's very uncomfortable. The air smells bad, the air is bad. And there are a lot of cities like that in China, of course, because China is, as we all know, a very quickly, fast developing country. And whenever you have a big sort of development like this, of course you have to have factories, and you know, people are going to be mining minerals and resources, and you know, cutting down trees, and you know, quarrying out mountains and whatever they do. And so pollution is a result of this kind of a process. So yes, you get some horribly polluted cities in China, and that's why if you're going to come to China, you have to be very careful where you go. You know, if you're planning to settle here anyway. From my experiences, Shenzhen is absolutely the best city. And then you get Zhuhai as well. Zhuhai is beautiful. Also, no pollution there in Zhuhai that I've ever seen, and I've been quite a few times. Big cities like Shanghai, and Shanghai, they try their best, but there's still lots of pollution there. Beijing is pretty awful when it comes to pollution, I'll be honest. If you want to go to Beijing, be prepared to put up with some pretty awful weather, pollution and dust from the desert blowing in and whatnot. And a lot of these small little industrial cities and towns, it's almost not livable. The pollution is so bad. So you really have to do a little bit of research before you come here. If you're planning to take a job or you're planning to go visit places, just do some research online. You'll be able to see, or you can of course send me a message or something. If I've been to whatever city you're talking about, I'll be able to tell you. But in my experience, you know, it's a very polarized situation here in China. You can't say that Chinese cities are polluted, because that's not true. What you can say is that there are many very polluted Chinese cities, and there are very many non-polluted Chinese cities. This is pretty much what it boils down to. So that's really all I can say about pollution in China. You can look at my videos. I've got a lot of videos about me visiting different cities, different parts of China, and different times of the year. And you can see for yourself from the videos what the air quality is like, etc. Yeah, and so I guess that's all I can say about pollution. So let's take a look at this company name over here. Come on, autofocus. Come on. Focus. Focus. Micro profit. Now that's not really the kind of company name you want.